Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape,
vinyl tape, carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham. Man, get excited. You want to talk about a man who's moving the community? Brother Bruce, welcome to the platform, man. How are you?
Hey, Brother Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Well.
Absolutely. Let's get started, man. Let's get started. I love your Facebook posts. You are so funny. Always looking for jobs. but I want to jump right into this, man, because I want to share the platform with you and give you an opportunity to talk about all the great work that Boyd is doing. So what does Boyd stand for?
It stands for Building Our Youth Development.
Yes. And how did we get started with that, man?
Man, almost 19 years ago.
Yes.
19 years ago. Started out as a program that I wanted to just do for boys, but it ended up being for boys and girls.
Yes.
And pilot program at PJ Hill School.
Okay.
Yes. Wayne Dennis was the vice principal, and Addie Daniels Lane was the principal.
Yes.
We brought a concept to the school, and it was all brought about of. I grew up in the school district. I grew up in Trenton Public Schools, and being a parent, there were so many things that was missing from my childhood that I wanted my son to experience. And a little bit more stuff.
Yes.
So I just started jotting down a lot of the things that we had that they didn't have and created a program around that and giving children a little bit more hope than what I had growing up in the school district as well.
Yeah. Now, how important is giving hope to our young folks? How important is that, brother?
Hope is everything.
Yes.
So hope I have this thing, the power of belief.
Yes.
Our kids, and we would tell them, our kids are no different than students in Lawrence, students in Princeton, students in West Windsor, all of the other high-performing school districts in Mercer County. The only difference was the zip code.
Yes.
And when you let young people understand that the power of belief and not just saying you can be anything, but live out your dreams.
Yes.
And that's the thing that's missing. Young people don't live out their dreams. They don't really think about their purpose. And so they allow society to dictate where they can go.
Yes.
So that's why I have this whole thing. I make shifts happen. Yes. We have to shift their paradigm and let them understand that your location is never your destination.
Yes. Amen. Yes.
That's where we started, and that's what we've been doing for the last 19 years, going on 20 years, brother.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Now, I want to ask this question, right? So, in the beginning, what were some of the challenges that Boyd was facing?
Well, as with any new company, you had we were just a small fish
Yes.
swimming amongst the big, long-standing organizations like the YMCA, CYO, and Boys and Girls Club. And we had no proven track record. You know, any education you had to create the data.
Yes.
And how do you know this is going to work? And it's that conundrum. Well, you got to give us a shot.
Yeah.
in order to get it, you know. And that was one of the things that was so grateful and thankful for Addie Daniels Lane for just saying, yes, we can. That was her motto at that point. Before Barack Obama, she was just like, I'm new in this position. It's good for our kids. Yes, we can do it.
I love it. Yes.
And that's what happened, brother. And we got the data to support the program.
Yes.
And it's just been growing and going strong ever since.
Now, what are some of the things that the students are exposed to in Boyd?
You name it, we do it. So we started with, one of the things we started at PJ Hill was a bank.
Okay.
They had an actual bank. We partnered with at that point Yardville National Bank.
Yes.
And so we brought a bank into the school because we were teaching financial literacy to fifth graders.
Yes.
Letting them understand the power of a bank.
Yes.
Versus what they saw so much from their parents was check cashing places.
Yeah.
So we started with that. We had a financial literacy. We created a bank. Young people were leaving by 8th grade. They knew how to write a deposit slip, a check deposit slip, a savings deposit slip. They knew how to write out a check.
Yes.
And so that was essential and critical to building their development, you know, and preparing them for the world outside of 12th grade.
Now, at any point, Bruce, when you were going through this process, did you have any doubt? Did you doubt yourself?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You can't teach the power of belief and then have doubt.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we just went with it. We were just strong. I was anything that I could think of, we made it possible. We made it happen because we knew, we understood that we could be the change makers that was necessary during that time. And this was during the height of the gang activity. So we had to combat that gang activity with some positive things and shine a light on where they could go in life, you know?
Now, I want to stop you for a second. I want to go fast forward, then I'm going to bring you back. So
okay.
If you were a school superintendent, what type of programs and how instrumental would Boyd be in the school programming wrapped around community services?
It would be very instrumental because what Boyd does is build our youth self-esteem.
Yes.
It shows them opportunities. So in our 19 years, we've visited over 35 colleges.
Wow.
Universities.
Yes. Now now slow down. Let's unpack that. No, because that's fantastic, and I want you to share more about that. Why did you have this notion for touring colleges? Why did you want to do that, and how did that begin?
Well, we wanted to do it simply because we knew that our kids and some of their parents have never gone to college.
Yes.
So it's one thing to see a brochure and say, "Oh, I like this," and get there, and the brochure isn't exactly what the college is. It's another thing to expose our young people to the universities and the colleges, and they compare and contrast, and they can see the neighborhoods of surrounding, and that's the most important thing.
Yes.
What's surrounding that university or that college?
Yes.
And they can see that, and it sets their world on fire. It opens their eyes and say, Now I have a goal that I am going after.
Yes.
And that's totally different than saying, oh, I want to go to college.
Yes.
So our kids were saying, I want to go to this college. I want to go to that college.
Yes.
You know, my daughter was a part of the program.
Okay.
And in 7th grade, we took a tour of, during our summer program, we went to Delaware State University, Bowie.
Yes.
But when she stepped on the college campus at Delaware State, and the tour guy, a young black girl from Brooklyn, and they talked, and my daughter's name is Brooke.
Yes.
And so she just took to it.
Wow.
And when she graduated high school, she went to Delaware State University. That was what she said. I want to go there.
Because of the exposure. Awesome.
Because of the exposure.
Awesome. Now you had mentioned you've gone to 35 college campuses. What have been some of the other college campuses that you've toured?
So we've gone everywhere from New Jersey all the way down to Selma, Alabama.
Wow.
So anything in between, and all the way up from, all the way up to schools in Connecticut. So as far north as schools in Connecticut, and as far south as Selma, Alabama. We took a journey down to Selma. We did that trip twice. So we stopped in Virginia. We stopped in, so what was in Virginia? ODU, Hampton, Norfolk State. We stopped in North Carolina. So we did Greensboro, North Carolina, and those 3 schools right in the Greensboro area.
Yes.
Then we went down into Atlanta. So we did Clark, Morehouse. And then we went down into Alabama and did what was the one in Alabama? I can't even remember now. So, but those were some of the things that we've done that way. And each summer during our summer program, we conducted a summer program from 2012 to 2018.
Yes.
Every summer we incorporated going to colleges, going to and touring historical sites. So when we went to York, PA, we went to the college out there. We went to the college at in Lancaster. So where we will find all of these places and just put our kids on those campuses, just so they can be exposed and say, "Hey, this might be somewhere I want to go,"
yes.
Or "Oh, I don't like it around here," and at least
Exactly. I love it, man. I love it. So now going back to the community piece, how does Boyd connect the community to the program?
In the past, what we would do, we would partner up with promoter Anthony Walker.
Yes.
And we would do different events to get our kids to those college tours. So we would do a bowling event. We would do an HBCU event. We did a couple bowling events, and it yielded enough money for us to defer the cost for some students and lower the cost for others to take the trip to Selma.
I love it, man.
And and that's how the community always helped. We one summer 5 years ago now, 2017, the summer of 2017, part of our summer program and math component was a business piece of learning how to design shirts and make shirts one of those things that could sustain our Boyd.
Yes.
And throughout that, we had a winning team. And from that, we created a Boyd brand apparel.
Yes.
And so our young people were designers, and we started helping small businesses grow their marketing through apparel.
Yeah, and I've had you help me with one of my shirts. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so that has been sustaining, and the proceeds to that goes to during COVID, we had virtual programs. We created a Learn to Earn program where we would read books and play Kahoot, and young people would win money for just reading books, you know? And so when people buy from us, they are feeding our young people and their educational aspirations. So it's not just, we're not just like your typical retail spot. We actually give the proceeds go right into our kids' pockets with our incentive programs.
Yes. Now, who else is a part of the Boyd team for making this happen?
So, we started, it was myself and my wife.
Yes.
She wasn't my wife at the time, but, we eventually, our love and passion for our young people, we got married, and
yes.
So it's my wife. Right now, it's just her and I.
Okay.
During the years, we've had people come in and keep this train rolling when I couldn't because I was working full time.
Yes.
So Robert Matlock, Darren Green.
Yes.
We had Jessica Desmond. She's frugal but fly.
Yes.
So we brand her. And then we would hire teachers for the summer.
Yes.
We would hire teachers, and we hired some of our students that went through the program.
Yes.
And they were in college. And so they came back and we gave them jobs. They didn't even have to interview because we knew them.
Yes. I love it.
We raised them up. So what better employee to have is someone who went through your program that would be able to give that same passion and give back to ones coming through the program.
I love it, man. So I just had a podcast interview, and we were talking about making better use of the schools. How do you think we can make better use of our schools? Because some of these schools, after 3 o'clock, they sit virtually empty. How could we make better use of our schools where they are attracting a more positive sense of community? How can we make better use?
So one of the things I think they have to do is create. They have to open the schools. That's
yes.
it. You have to open the schools, and you can't, they can't charge an amount to an organization that's giving back and giving of their time to keep kids off the street. They can't charge them $200-$400 a night because they're not bringing $200-$400 in
yes.
to sustain their program.
Yes.
And the school district is their budget is $200-something million.
Yeah.
And these organization budgets or $5,000-$10,000, and so that's one of the things. The schools, the city has to be more open to giving organizations a shot, and the organizations have to excuse me, just make sure they have the insurance.
Yes.
You have the insurance that's going to cover you. So once you have that, that's what should be necessary, right?
Yes.
And that be enough for the schools to say, well, if they mess up something, we know they're insured to make sure it gets fixed.
Yeah. Now let me stop you for a second. This is I just want to share this with you, man. I love you and I love your personality. Where did this personality come from, man? You're just like you're like an educator, you're like a philosopher, you're a comedian. Where'd all that come from, man?
Man, lots of days of talking to myself in my room.
Okay.
I had a whole lot of personalities in my head.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I had a friend.
Yes.
And I won't say their name.
Yes.
But they said to me one day, they knew me personally, and they said, Bruce, I know it's a different side of you, but when you're in the public, you're so strong with education
yes.
that it kind of turns people away.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so it was a brutal conversation, and it
yes.
was just like, wow. But that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about, yeah, you can be,
yes,
but there's another side of you.
yes.
And so, so I took it and I was like, well, how, can I do this other side and show people the other side
Yes.
without losing my main purpose. And
Yes.
so I did. I tried it, and it's just things. It's just my personality. My wife doesn't like it. She thinks I am like the most boring comedian. I say, but I get people to laugh, and she's like, well, I don't.
Okay.
She's the biggest critic.
Yeah. So now, 5 years from now, where is Bruce and where is the Boyd organization?
5 years from now,
Yes.
I'm still in this grind, Kevin.
Yes.
It's a hard grind, because as you know, with how the world is, there has been the world is like the stock market.
Yes.
It has highs and it has its lows. And education is like the stock market. There'll be sometimes where we be on a high and you have all of these kids and you're so excited. And then the next 2 years, you looking around and saying, hey, I got something for you. And no one's interested.
Yes.
And so for me, I'm writing books.
Okay.
So I'm an author. I'm
Okay.
writing books. And
Awesome.
I'm using the book. I'm using that platform and media to shop these books to schools, shop these books to the New Jersey courts and to the court systems,
Yes.
and hopefully, I will be able to continue this work.
Yes.
And not just right now. I'm in Mercer County and Burlington County.
Yes.
And I'm working with New Jersey courts. So I'm in 9 different counties. And that's a great thing to be in, because I've always talked about prevention,
Yes.
not detention.
Yes.
But what I realized when I started working for the Department of Corrections, that kids that were in detention, in correction, needed the information just as much or more
Yes.
than kids that were out. And believe it or not, Brother Kevin, the kids, and I call them kids because they were 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yes.
They were still kids. And inside, they were more receptive because they had already hit that brick wall.
Thank you. Yes.
So more receptive, and my kids that are on probation, they are more receptive because now they hit that wall and they want a little bit of redemption.
Yes. Which is so unfortunate that we've got to go to that point before I can get you to listen. But I'm so glad that you're there. Now hold that point. Do you see a difference in today's youth versus the youth that you met 19 years ago when Boyd started? Do you see that there's a difference?
Absolutely, brother. You know, because you were doing minding our business,
Yes,
and the kids were more hungry.
Yes.
And they were easy to receive the information, wanted the information. Now, some of these young people and their parents,
yes,
I say that they are so arrogant in their ignorance,
yes,
that it's killing them.
yes,
It's literally killing them.
yes,
And so, the education system, especially in inner cities, is not built for those students to become CEOs.
yes,
Not built for it's built for them to become workers.
yes,
Not and so when you're teaching these concepts like minding our business, when you're saying to them, that you can run your own business, that you can be an entrepreneur,
yes,
that these things are viable.
yes,
And then you have a parent be like, well, everybody ain't meant to be an entrepreneur, and if everybody's an entrepreneur, who's gonna be the worker? So it's like, wait a minute, So the thing that I always say at this point is, everybody is already an entrepreneur, because when you tell somebody to mind your business, you already calling them a CEO.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
So, and the business is how you're running yourself.
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
So when I say that to young people, I say, you are the CEO of yourself.
Yes.
And how you run you're going to either stay in business or you're going to be out of business.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's where I'm at, and it's hard because I have so many things in my head, Brother Kev. Like I have a robotics program, I have a build a computer program.
Yes.
And these are things that our kids need, but I can't get parents to sign their kids up for it.
That's going to always be a challenge, and I don't know why that is, right? But I just gotta hope and pray that you will still be at the forefront of driving that notion, man. You know, so you're going to get a lot of parents who are going to not like the idea, and you're going to get some parents who are going to jump on board and eat you alive because they love it. So just keep pouring, because you're doing great work, man.
Absolutely, brother. I can't stop now. You know,
I don't want you to now. I don't want you. So so before I get into the Boyd comedy show that's coming out soon, tell me some of the titles of some of the books that you have out already.
So the one book that I have out is my book is coming up on a year. August 1st, it will be a year. We sold about 650, almost 700 copies of that book.
Yes.
Self-published, self-marketed. So pretty good for a year of not really doing a lot with it.
Yes.
Another book that I'm working on it's in the burners. It should be done in a couple more weeks. It's called Yo Little Brother.
Okay.
Yo Little Brother is stories. A few years ago, I put out a post and I said, "What would you tell to the brothers? What 3 things would you tell your younger self?"
Okay.
And so brothers got on this post and they started saying their 3 things. And so what I did was I captured all of this information.
Yes.
And I'm writing these passages, and then I'm giving credit to the brother who whatever 3 that he wrote, I have expounded on it for young brothers to read it so they won't fall down to some of these same pitfalls, and they have a guidebook.
I love it.
That help them navigate the rest of their lives, And so that's Yo Little Brother. We got that one coming out.
Yes.
Then the next one I have is called Dear Black People
Yes.
and Others That Want to Learn. So Dear Black People and Others That Want to Learn, because somebody was like, "Why are you only writing to Black people?"
Yeah.
But the thing was, it wasn't just about Black people. That was just the title to grab you.
Yes.
But this book is dedicated to just topics that Black people as Black people, I wanted to encourage them to let them know that they are not second-class citizens.
Yes.
You're far greater than that. So every passage in this is a letter to just Black people and other people that want to know.
I love it.
So,
man.
So yeah, and then I got a comedy one coming out. It's a satire book, and that one is really based on 2 things.
Okay.
So say the comic side was, it all started when I transferred. I was working for Department of Environmental Protection for 22 years.
Yes.
And during my last couple of years there, I started wearing bow ties. Bow ties was a thing. I started wearing bow ties.
Yes.
And I worked on the 7th floor in the 7th floor building.
Yes.
So there would be white people, white men mainly, always had something to say about me wearing bow ties. It became a conversation piece. But it was like some of the strangest conversations and most uncomfortable conversations. It was like, "Did you tie that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Did you tie your shoes?" Like, how do you ask a man, "Did you tie that?"
Yeah.
So I would have and I would post these little crazy things. So it was the elevator ride.
Yes, yes.
But then when I went over to Department of Corrections, I thought Department of Environmental Protection was bad. It was just over there was just so much stuff, and I worked in IT,
Yes.
so I was help desk technician, and just some of the things were just hysterical, and I'm like, I can't, people really talk like this, or people really. So I just started saying the DOC Chronicles,
Gotcha.
and it was just stories of actual really real stories.
Yes.
And it got to the point when I walked into a prison and people that knew me or, knew me, they would, don't write about me today, or the one you wrote about the other day. Or I showed the girl that, because they knew,
Yes.
but I would never put names or anything.
Yes.
So it became the DOC Chronicles, and they were just hysterical.
I love it.
And when I retired, I didn't have no more material. So what I did was, I retired when I was 47. So
Yes.
I never felt like I retired. It was just, so I said I was unemployed, and that's when the stories about me looking for a job,
Yes.
and they were just short stories. And so that book is called Chronicles of the Unemployed Help Desk Worker.
I love it, man.
So I combined,
Yes.
some of the Chronicle stuff
Yes.
with the DOC Chronicles, the bow tie stuff from DEP,
Yes.
and all of my adventures in trying to find a job.
Wow.
And so you got to stay next to the bathroom when you're reading that book, because I keep it real
Yes.
PG on Facebook, but I get more, some lewd stuff goes on
Yeah.
in some of those chronicles, because it was just funny things and some of the jobs that I had to go find,
Yes.
And Kev, believe it or not, brother, people would send me applications.
What?
Be like, listen, you should go on this interview.
Yeah.
So it was truly funny. And then if people saw me in person, they said, is that serious? Are you serious? Are you really looking for a job? I'm like, well, when I'm driving down the street and if I see a help wanted sign, then it just sparks me to sit down and write
Yes.
about an adventure that didn't really happen, but it's all in my head.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Now I got to get back to something serious. And both you and I can attest to this. Fundraising. Fundraising is a challenge, right?
Right.
What could we do collectively as small not-for-profits out here to encourage the larger audience to support these proven programs? How do we do that?
Kev, in my 20 years, in doing this business for 20 years,
Yes.
I've never gotten a state grant.
Okay.
I've never gotten a federal grant.
Yes.
Everything that I've gotten has been through just the average person,
Okay.
and how did that work? I told the narrative and I told the story. Whenever we took a journey somewhere, whenever we were on a trip somewhere, people saw pictures, people saw the faces, people saw little snippets of videos.
Yes.
And it wasn't just a feel-good thing. It was a real good thing.
Yes.
And people said, I want you to continue this work.
Yes.
One of the things I would have to say about nonprofits is they have to start to tell their story better.
Agreed.
And when they tell the story better, it's when more people are more apt to give.
Okay.
And so, and that's the thing. Like, if I tell a story the other day I told the story on Facebook, and a supporter said, "I guess I got to buy more T-shirts." And I said, "You don't have to." And the next thing I know, there was money in the account and says 2 T-shirts.
Gotcha.
But T-shirts was $10, but it was $100 in there.
Awesome.
So, and that's what it is. So it's not always that we have to beg, borrow, and steal. We just have to tell our stories and make it plain and make it clear for people to say, I need to keep that going.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
And I thank you for sharing that. But I had this conversation with a dear friend of mine, a buddy of mine, and we were, it's like every year, I can't remember the baseball player, but there was a baseball player who was retiring, and he decides to give $1 million to the Boys and Girls Clubs. And I'm like, what? And so I'm saying, I'm not as big as the Boys and Girls Clubs, but the little work that we do is so impactful. Why don't those guys, why don't they come and dig a little deeper instead of them looking for the big boys to give money to? Won't they look for the smaller boys that are doing just as well but are impactful, but no one really knows them, to give us? Because can you imagine what $1 million or $100,000 would do to our programs?
Absolutely. And so one of the things, it's the rich people don't seem like they want have time for it, right?
Yeah.
We think about that when Oprah made that big thing and said, "Oh, I'm going to Africa and build the school."
Yeah.
And I'm like, all the places you could have built the school here. But sadly, the people who were donating were people who were guilty.
Yes.
And they donated for the guilt.
Yes.
And they spend that say, well, I'm helping somebody in Africa.
Yeah.
And I'm going to overlook the people here.
Yes.
That my people did the most damage to.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
But once again, I would say, as a smaller nonprofit, you have to send some letters to those people, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that, when people do these, you go on somebody's website. So one of the things I did before is, have you heard of Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta?
Yes, I have. Yes.
So what I did was, I said, how did this guy, Teach of America, get this thing going, got Oprah on his team, and you go to his page and you see all of the people that fund his program. Hey, so now, if they're funding his program, let me write them a narrative letter.
Yes.
It's, hey, we're over here. We do some of the same things.
Yes.
You got you giving him 500,000 here. Give us 5,000. You know. So sometimes you got to pilfer off of some of them bigger
absolutely
organizations. I tell you that, Kev, I was never afraid to go on a website and see somebody popping and just go see who was donating to.
Absolutely. Got to do it. But, man, I love the work that you are doing, man. Keep up the good work. So before we move on, any shout-outs you want to give to anybody?
Any shout-outs? I just want to shout out to everybody, man.
Okay.
Thank you for those that are listening, and if you contributed at any point in these 19 years, thank you, because without that help and without that support, I wouldn't be able to be talking to you today, Kev.
Yes.
The accolades that I've gotten over the years is one thing, but the money that kept us going is the greatest gift that we could have ever gotten. And I'm so thankful for those who donated. Thankful for the parents, man.
Yes.
I have some great parents, bro.
Yes.
That's what it takes. When a parent trusts you with their kids,
Yes.
It's you know you got to do right.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
those parents that stuck by me, took trips with us. You know, we have a traveling club now, and so the kids have aged out.
Yes.
But guess what the parents say? Look, I'm still coming. I'm still coming.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, that's the thing. When the kids get older, that we have our parents that just still want to learn and still want to
Yes.
travel and still want to do things. So yeah, it's a great thing that we've done, and I'm so thankful for all of those people who just stuck by us through these 20 years. We're gearing up for we're having a big reunion, 20-year reunion next year.
Yes.
In June. It's going to be fantastic because our kids now are like 28, 29 years old.
Yes, sir.
Some of our first kids, they are teachers, and that's the piece. They are teachers in the school district, in Trenton Public School District.
Awesome.
So, you know, they're teachers, they're social workers, they're entrepreneurs, they are activists in the city of Trenton. They're doing their thing, and it's just like these are all the tools that we were giving them.
Yes.
And they came back home and they're passing it along to others. I'm so thankful for that.
And just to piggyback on that, we've got just an informal reunion coming up in August, the 25th at the Smokehouse. Because again, like you, we've been in existence for 25 years, and our kids now are adults with families themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, listen, I would love to connect with you guys and see if we could do a MOB 2.0 with some of you guys facilitating the growth in the next movement. So you and I are on par with the thinking, and so certainly thank you. Now, we had talked about the challenges. Any regrets that you have in doing Boyd? Any regrets?
The one regret would be that, you know, when you start doing the work for the people, sometimes you're not 100% for your family.
Okay.
And so, you know, that's the one regret. Like my kids had to grow up sharing their dad, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And times when it was just like, hey, we're all going to do this.
Yeah.
You know, family vacations was everybody, not just us.
Yeah,
you know, we were on the bus with 50, 40 something other people.
Yeah, these are all your cousins.
Right?
Yeah.
For real, that's how it was.
Yeah.
So, you know, so that would be the only real regret, that I wasn't always 100% home.
Yes.
You know, but I believe they understood, and they understand the work that's needed because of the condition we're in today.
Gotcha. And you being who you are, right? What would you say to the city leaders or those who are wanting to be city leaders? How would you encourage them to do more for our young folks if you had to speak to those city leaders now?
If I had to speak to the city leaders now, I would simply say people are watching.
Yes.
Our kids are watching.
Yes. And
in order to lead our people, we have to speak their language.
Yes.
And you have to lead with empathy.
Yes.
So I just read this book, Wrong Lanes Make Right Turns. And and it was a great book, Kevin. It was a really great book. And the young guy that wrote the book, he pretty much was saying, you know, if you don't have empathy, you can't really help nobody. And part of it, I posted part of it. He said, you know how people say, well, I grew up in the city. You could grow up in the city. Pull your
bootstraps.
Pull your bootstraps, right?
Yes.
He said this, Kev. He said, what if your boots were stolen?
Got you.
Or what if you didn't have boots?
Yes.
So how do you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps?
Yes.
And so that's what I would say to our leaders, to have empathy
Yes.
and create. Don't just talk about it,
Yes.
be about it.
Yes.
Create opportunities for our young people, meaningful opportunities.
Yes.
Find the money. Listen, I ain't rich,
Yes.
but we just closed out our book club yesterday, and I gave out $200
Wow.
to just 4 kids. 4
Yes.
kids.
Wow.
The total $200.
Yes.
So that makes a difference. I read a book. I got $25 for just reading a book in 3 weeks.
Yes.
That makes a difference.
Yes.
I know for 3 weeks they were engaged in the book.
Yes.
So, yeah, come up with some things like that. And it doesn't always say, well, the city ain't got no money. Well, you got some money.
Yeah.
So that's all, brother.
No,
empathy.
Yes, I love it, man. Listen, before we close out, tell everyone your contact information if they want to reach out to you or purchase a book or a T-shirt, or be a part of the Boyd program.
Yeah, man. It's my website is I am Bruce A. Boyd Jr.com. That's it. I am Bruce A. Boyd Jr.com. My telephone number is 609-954-2033. And my email address is the same. I am Bruce A. Boyd Jr. at gmail.com. But you can find all that information, contact me once you go to the website.
Yes.
And the book is up there. There's some YouTube videos of me in action.
Yes.
Testimonials and a lot of other little things. And we're going to be adding some stuff when I put the new books up and everything else.
Awesome. Listen, man, put your show on the road. The Boyd program needs to be on the road, man. So you got the Bruce Boyd show, and then you got the Boyd program on the road, man. You would kill him, huh? Hey, Bruce, let's have some fun right now, right? You're on the road, right? You're doing your comedy shtick. Who would open up for you?
Who will open up for me?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. You know who I would want to open up for me?
Yes.
Is a hometown brother, DK.
Okay, BK.
I would want DK to open up for me.
All right.
Because I love my Trenton people, man.
Awesome.
And if I'm going to, I always say this, Kev. I heard it somewhere and I believe it. When you rise, you lift.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
if you can't lift when you rise, then you're gonna be up there. You ain't gonna go far.
Yes, sir.
So if somebody really was like, "Yo, I need this guy right here. I don't want Kevin Hart because he's going to outdo me, brother. He going to outdo me. Once he get off, they ain't gonna want to hear me.
They gonna leave.
But I would bring DK up.
Okay.
I would bring DK with me.
Keeping in that same vein, somebody comes to you and say, Bruce, want to do a film about you. Who would play Bruce? Who would play you, Bruce, in this film?
Who would I want to play me?
Yes.
Really, I would want a Kevin Hart. I wouldn't want a Denzel because I haven't seen Denzel in something funny.
Okay.
So, I would want to be on a Kevin Hart or a Dave Chappelle.
Okay. I can see that.
I love Dave Chappelle. Because Dave is smart.
Yes, he is.
Oh, that brother is one smart brother.
Yes, sir.
And he, I kind of mimic some of his raw. It's real relevant, and it makes you think, and then you laugh.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, if you're listening, connect with my brother. I'm going to serve as the agent.
All right.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Hart played some serious I watched him. He played some serious side.
Yes.
Then he has this funny stuff. But it was one where he played a caretaker of a quadriplegic guy.
Oh, was that? Oh, I forgot the name of that movie. That was a true story. That was fantastic, man.
Yeah, that's what I said. This brother can really act.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
He can really act. That was a good one.
Wasn't it though? I forgot the name of it. Yeah, that was a great movie. My God, thank you. I can see that now, Bruce. I can see that.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Listen, man, you have been fantastic. Is there anything else that we did not touch on that you want to share with the listening audience, man, about the program, about your books, about your movie?
Hey,
yeah.
From your lips to God's ears, make it happen because the story will be something.
Yes.
Before that movie, brother, I really, a lot of the things that I've done, and I have to give credit to because I'm a historian in a way.
Yes.
A lot of the things that I've done was really mimicking our brother Patton J. Hill.
Okay.
He went around the city of Trenton with the ice cream. Well, back in the day, with a little little roller ice cream, selling ice cream to make sure that he could provide things for the students in his school. So when I read about that and saw the stuff that he did,
yes,
that's why I said, you don't have to write a whole bunch of grants. You just have to tell a compelling story
yes,
to the people,
yes,
and get what you need for the people,
yes,
and we can lift ourselves up,
yes,
together in this fight. So
for this,
man.
For this episode, that's going to be the tagline: "Tell a compelling story." Tell a compelling story. You're comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell a story.
Yes.
And what I've learned is you don't always have to be so serious.
Yes.
You don't know. I thought you had to, but I love it, man. I love what I do. I love to make people smile, laugh, give, and enjoy life because this is it. We only got this one.
As far as we know, this is it, brother.
That's all. Right.
This is it. Yeah.
Because if I close my eyes and don't wake up, and if I wake up in hell, I'm be like, hold on, take me back. I promise I'll do better.
Yeah.
Nah, brother.
I thought I was going to end on that note, but I'm not. I got one more for you. What is the Bruce Boyd legacy? What is your legacy, brother?
Brother, I'm still trying to figure it out, man. I'm living my life to leave that legacy.
Yes.
So the legacy is whatever someone that I've been in contact with, whatever it is that they felt.
Yes.
A young lady wrote a letter to me and it had tears in my eyes the other day.
Yes.
And she said, you used to have us stand up and in front of the class, and I hated it.
Yes.
But thank you, because when I went to school, when I went off to college, I was one of the ones who wasn't afraid to stand up.
Yes.
And so then there was one guy, I keep all this stuff every now and then. I go through, sent a letter, said, you was the first guy who purchased a suit for me. He needed a suit in Men's Warehouse.
Yes.
I buy my jackets and stuff, and I had money. They used to give. I went over there. Come on, boy, go and get you a suit.
Yes.
Bought him a suit. So the legacy is that brother bought me my first suit.
Yes.
So whatever it is to whoever I've done quietly and secretly, that's the legacy. And I hope that they pass those things on to someone else along the way.
I love it, man. I love it. Bruce, my friend, I love you. You have been fantastic. Oh, I knew I was going to get excited. Oh, my God. I knew we were going to get excited. But listen, keep up the good work. Blessings and success upon all that you do, man. And the platform is always open to you for whatever you may need, man.
Oh, brother Kev, this was one of the best interviews that I've done. It was just like two brothers sitting down, talking, and I appreciate it. You made me feel very comfortable.
Yes, sir.
And you keep doing the same, bro. You keep doing. Don't give up. Don't give up the fight, brother.
Yes. All praises to God. Thank you, man. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I wanted to, I when I call people, and I've got to work on this. When I call people or I text people, I'm always asking them, please consider the interview. But it's really not an interview; it's a conversation, right? I gotta work on that. But I do know that today you were fantastic. I knew you were going to hit all the right notes, all the right spots, and I love you for all you do, man. I love you for all you do. So let's stay connected. And I'm going to give you the final word before we close out.
Hey, brother, all I have to say is keep making shift happen.
Yes.
Keep making shift happen.
Yes.
That's my line.
Yes. Bruce, thank you, man. We'll talk and text in a minute, man.
All right, brother.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Peace.
That concludes another episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email Kevin at minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.